Here it comes, a loving sensation. Let's join hands and be one as a nation. We'll forget all the hatred and the greed. Now's the time for us to be free. We'll stand tall, together we will survive. Holding on for a tranquil peace of mind. Know your heart and where you are going. In a perfect world, love will be showing. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. Are you ready? 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 Let's go.
Shabbat Shalom, Mishpachah, and welcome to Hebrew Bible Secrets with your host, Rabbi Beaton. We are reading today from the book of Acts, starting at chapter 9. But before we go into chapter 9, I just want to speak quickly but briefly about chapter 7, when the Israelites made the idol. So Hakohen corrected me and let me know that the idol that they made was of an angel. Okay, so I thought you should know that. The idol that they made was of an angel. Okay, so let's go to Acts chapter 9, verse 1. 1. And Shaul, yet breathing out threats and slaughter against the disciples of Yahushua, went to the Kohen Hagadol, high priest. and desired of him letters to Damascus, to the Kohalim, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. 3. And as he journeyed until he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from the Shamayim. 4. And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying to him, Shaul, Shaul, why do you persecute me? And he said, Who are you, Master? And the Master said, I am Yahushua, whom you persecute. 6. And both trembling and astonished said, Master, what do you want me to do? And Master Yahushua said to him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told to you what you must do. 7. And the men who journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a sound, but seeing no man. 8. And Shaul arose from the ground, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man, but they led him by the hand, and brought him into Damascus. 9. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink. 10. And there was a certain disciple at Damascus, named Ananias, and to him said the Master in a vision, Ananias, and he said, Behold, here I am, Master. 11. And Yeshua said to him, Arise and go into the street, which is called Yashar, straight, and inquire in the Beth house of Yehuda, for one called Shaul of Tarsus, for behold, he petitions. 12. And has seen in a vision a man named Ananias, coming in, and putting his hands on him, that he might receive his sight. 13. Then Ananias answered, Master, I have heard by many of this man how much evil he has done to your Kadoshim, set apart brethren, at Jerusalem. 14. And here he has authority from the chief Kohanim to bind all that call on your name. 15. But Yahshua said to him, Go your way, for he is a chosen vessel to me, to bear my name before the nation, and kings, and the children of Israel. 16. For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. 17. And Ananias went his way, and entered into the Beth, the house, and putting his hands on him, said, Brother Shaul, the Master Yahshua, that appeared to you in the way as you came, has sent me, that you might receive your sight, and be filled with the Ruach HaKadosh, set apart spirit. 18. And immediately there fell from his eyes, as it had been, scales, and he received sight forthwith, and arose, and was immersed. 19. And after taking some food, he was strengthened. Then Shaul remained certain days with the disciples, which were in Damascus. 20. And straightway he preached Yahushua in the Kohalim, that he is the Son of Elohim. 21. But all that heard him were amazed, and said, Is not this he that destroyed them, which called on his name in Jerusalem, and came here for the intent that he might bring them bound to the chief Kohanim? 22. But Shaul increased the more in strength, and was causing consternation for the Yehudim who dwelt at Damascus, proving that this is the Messiah. 23. And after that many days were fulfilled, the Yehudim took counsel to kill him. 24. Shaul knew about the ambush of the Yehudim, and they watched the gates day and night to kill him. 25. Then the disciples took him by night, and let him down through an opening in the wall with a basket. 26. And when Shaul had arrived in Jerusalem, he attempted to join himself to the disciples, but they were all afraid of him and did not believe that he was a disciple. 27. But Barnabas took him and brought him to the emissaries and declared to them how he had seen Yahshua in the way, and that he had spoken to him, and how he had preached boldly at Damascus in the name of Yahshua. 28. And he was with them coming in and going out at Jerusalem. 29. And he spoke boldly in the name of Master Yahshua, and disputed against the Hellenists, but they went about to kill him. 30. Which when the brothers knew, they brought him down to Caesarea, and sent him forth to Tarsus. 31. Then the congregations of Yashreali brethren had rest throughout all Yehuda and Galilee, and Samaria, and were edified, and walking in the fear of Yahweh, and in the comfort of the Ruach HaKadosh, set apart spirit, were multiplied. 32. And it came to pass, as Kepha passed throughout all the country, he came down also to the Kodoshim, who dwelt at Lydda. 33. And there he found a certain man named Enes, who had been confined to a bed 8 years, and was paralyzed. 34. And Kepha said to him, Enes, Yahushua the Messiah makes you whole. Arise and make your bed. And he arose immediately. 35. And all that dwelt at Lydda and Saron saw him and turned to Yahushua. 36. Now there was at Joppa a certain disciple named Tabitha, which by interpretation is called Dorcas. This woman was full of good works and good deeds which she did. 37. And it came to pass in those days that she was sick and died, whom when they had washed, they laid her in an upper chamber. 38. For as much as Lydda was near to Joppa, and the disciples had heard that Kepha was there, they sent to him 2 men, desiring him that he would not delay to come to them. 39. Then Kepha arose and went with them. When he had come, they brought him into the upper chamber, and all the widows stood by him weeping, and showing the tunics and garments which Dorcas made while she was with them. 40. But Kepha put them all forth, and kneeled down and petitioned, and turning him to the body said, Tabitha, arise. And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Kepha, she sat up. 41. And he gave her his hand, and lifted her up. And when he had called the Kodoshim, set apart brothers and widows, presented her alive. 42. And it was known throughout all Joppa, and many believed in Yahushua. 43. And it came to pass that he stayed many days in Joppa, with one Shimon, a Levitana. Okay, so that now brings us to the end of Acts chapter 9. So let's go back and have a look at some of the footnotes in Acts chapter 9. Okay, so the first footnote we have is in verse 2. And desired of him letters to Damascus, to the Kohalim, that if he found any of this way. So let's have a look at this, any of this way. So we have here, the true faith was also known as the way. Okay, so the true faith was also known as the way. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 5. And he said, Who are you, Master? And the Master said, I am Yahushua, whom you persecute. So let's have a look at this, whom you persecute. This verse does not exist in the earlier manuscripts. It is hard for you to kick against the pricks. Okay, so this verse does not exist in the earlier manuscripts. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 6. And both trembling and astonished said, Master, what do you want me to do? Okay, so let's have a look at this. So it reads here, verse 6 is a later insertion. Okay, so verse 6 is a later insertion. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 7. And the men who journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a sound, but seeing no man. Okay, so hearing a sound, let's have a look at this. So Aramaic, to hear a sound. Okay, Aramaic, to hear a sound. Okay, let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 20. And straight away he preached Yahushua. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So the word in manuscripts here is Yahushua and not anointed, translated Messiah. Okay, so the word in the manuscripts here is Yahushua and not anointed, which is translated as Messiah. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 24. Shaul knew about the ambush of the Yahudim. Okay, so let's have a look at this, Yahudim. So we have here the zealots from the school of Shammai who wanted to kill Pallas. Okay, so the zealots from the school of Shammai did not like Yahushua, so they wanted to kill anybody speaking about Yahushua. So these were the zealots from the school of Shammai who wanted to kill Pallas. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 29. And he spoke boldly in the name of Master Yahushua. Okay, so he spoke boldly in the name of. So the word Yahweh translated Lord in the KJV, King James Version, is not present in the manuscripts. Okay, so the word Yahweh translated Lord in the KJV, King James Version, is not present or is not present in the manuscripts. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 32. And it came to pass, as Kepha passed throughout all the country, he came down also to the Kedoshim, who dwelt at Lod, Lydda. So let's have a look at this, Lydda. So we have here just over 10 miles southeast of Jaffa in the north. Okay, so just over 10 miles southeast of Jaffa in the north. Okay. So that now brings us to the end of Acts chapter 9. So I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the other side. This is Rabbi Beaton saying thank you for watching, and Shalom Shalom. Baruch Shem, Kivod, Malkuto, Leolam Va'ed. Benevolent be the name of his esteemed kingdom, forever and ever and ever.